until much later after her study. Elizabeth decided to follow her dreams, a huge believer in fulfilling purpose, and launched her first collection from BETHEL, the Spring-Summer 2012 edition, which was named, I hope I pronounce this right, Epicureux collection.
That's right.
Wow, I said it right. I've been practicing for like
French.
a week in French,
Yeah.
but bonjour to all our French listeners. Je m'appelle ONYI, aka Mr. Distinction.
That's right.
Okay, Epicureux, meaning a preview, a taste of what is to come. I like that. Elizabeth says of herself, she loved clean lines, silhouettes being shown off beautifully with clothes which have been masterfully crafted in the essence of fashion. Elizabeth also goes on to say that fashion is fun, exciting, and personal, and she's fascinated by the old Hollywood glamour. So without much further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Elizabeth. Woohoo! Can I get a Yes. Welcome, Elizabeth. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Good,
Thank you for
cool.
having me here.
No problem.
Very excited, by the way.
Of course. I know, I can tell. She's very excited. It's interesting. We've known each other for like maybe 2 years now.
Yeah, they're around.
And one thing that's one of the grace that God gives me. I see the potential in people, and I love when people run in their God-given destiny. I love when people truly are fulfilling their vision and really striving to becoming all that God called them to be.
Absolutely.
I remember it must have been early last year, I sat down with her during one of the services after church, and I remember for about an hour I was really giving her the, coaching and inspiration, and it was so humbling to see her, Elizabeth, go and run with the message. Some people that you just feed them, and they still sit down and ignore and belch in your face and don't do nothing. But it's so inspirational to see Elizabeth really run with a God-given vision. So I salute you, my dear.
Thank you.
So
thank you. And the funny thing was,
yes,
I remember that day we had that conversation. You said,
yes.
you know what really annoys me is that when I actually do, sit here and like give them this nugget and they don't do anything with it. And then I realized months down the line, there were a few things you mentioned that I actually hadn't done. I was like, I hope ONYI is not thinking this. She didn't do this. I told her, this kind of things. I was like, you know what, I'm going to try my possible best to sort of, take like a mental note and sort of run with it, that kind of thing. And that's how it should be. We should be willing to inspire each other. I mean, it might not happen straight away, it might not be something you could implement straight away, but at the back of your mind, you know that there are people who are willing to give you advice, really good advice, obviously inspiration coming from you, and actually being able to run with it, because you know what, those are the people God had planted in your life, and there's a reason for that. They didn't just come up to you and blow in or whatever, so yeah, and I really thank God for your life, absolutely.
God is faithful. So Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us your background from Nigeria. Tell us the viewers about you.
Well, as the bio is already read, I grew up in Nigeria, so I went to my primary, secondary school education. Actually, was about to enter university when we came here, and then when I got here, it turns out that my sort of like the results you get in Nigeria could not really take you straight into university here. So I had to do college and then university. Funny enough, actually, I wanted to study medicine.
Wow, okay.
So
it wasn't forced by your parents?
No, actually, funny story, I'd always dreamed I would be a pediatrician.
Wow.
Yes. And
for the listeners out there, and for myself, what's a pediatrician again?
Okay, that's the doctors that are mainly with kids.
Okay, I knew that.
Pediatrics, yes. And because I do naturally have a great rapport with kids, it's just instinct. And basically, came here, university, and did biomedical sciences with the hope of maybe doing medicine, but then by now I was sort of considering other options. And then afterwards I decided, you know what, research might actually be a bit better, because I actually sort of enjoyed what I did in university and I wanted to see where that took me a little bit. And also I actually did my master's at the Institute of Child Health. So still going along with the pediatrics, because obviously sometimes there is a running thing along things that you do in life, and I do believe that it's not random, those things. But then afterwards I finished my master's, and then I started working, but then I also started sort of praying and asking God to sort of, obviously there was one thing ONYI said to me when he sat me down. He said, there's no way you can be in I believe the word used, a life-giving church, the word comes with so much power, and there's no way you can actually hear that and not grow and not want to expand even in your personal life, in your business life. And that was around the time when I started sort of seeking God and finding out what is my purpose. And obviously there's so many other things that have been revealed, but one of them was actually, fun enough, going to come out of fashion because of the passion that I've always had for that. And when God speaks, he confirms his word. So I had almost 3 people come up to me at the same time and said along the lines of what I'd sort of been praying about. And that was how Ella Bethel, you know, I started trusting God for things, and it's amazing how God works. Because
so let me take it back to the essence. So how was the transition from being born and raised in Nigeria, studying in that whole, because Nigeria is a whole different country and a whole different culture, to coming over to here in the UK? What was the transition like as a young woman, as a student?
Wow, that takes me back. It was, I think, with coming here for me, it wasn't too abrupt. I think if that's the word I would use, because I have family here, so it was very smooth in terms of the transition. I have uncles, my grandmother's here, my grandfather's here, so I still had a family base. I think it's always hard when your immediate family are not here, so you kind of find yourself missing home, but then there's a reason why you're here and you want to fulfill that. Of course, in terms of the education, I felt I was slightly ahead because I was already about to start university, and so basically I found myself just repeating stuff I'd already done. But I guess there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, you know, knowledge is never wasted. So it wasn't. The transition was actually a lot more smooth, and I believe when I came here, and I used to tell people I just got here a couple of months ago, they would look at me and go, "Your accent is not very thick." And I'd go, "Well, I have that father who banned me from speaking my actual language at home. You were not allowed to speak any other language but English, and obviously in school as well, you were not allowed to speak it's called vernacular, isn't it? You're only allowed to speak English. So I only spoke my language when I was with my friends. So yeah, my accent, I guess, wasn't so. In all areas, school, family, friends, it wasn't so abrupt. It was more of a smooth transition, and obviously I was young, so eager to sort of adapt and sort of That's cool. So in your bio, I like when it says you was an avid singer, I call it worshiper, and you were but there was a but. So where was that but that gave birth to Ella Bethel? What was that destiny, life turning point in your life? It's funny because I say to people, if only we could have a map and you see exactly where God was taking, then you would have probably made different choices. The but came because I started feeling slightly unfulfilled in what I was doing. In the terms of the fact that I would go to work and I would do my work, and obviously you're excellent, of course, at what you do, but that feeling of there's more that I should be doing. There's things I need to be fulfilling. How am I impacting my generation? What am I doing that is going to leave a legacy to not just me, to my children, and I believe that's where Ella Bethel came from, because I believe Ella Bethel is going to be more than fashion. Sure, it came out of fashion, because there's so much more that is going to come out of that. There's going to be schools, orphanages built out of that, and that is the vision that I believe, that came out of that. But initially, it came out of the fact that unfulfilled element of life, beginning to wonder there has to be more than this. And obviously the word coming, praying, believing, and sort of seeking and finding an answer to that, that lack of fulfillment.
That's interesting, because our last guest we had is Moses. He kind of said the same thing, and I believe that every child of God, every human being, there's a purpose for living.
Absolutely.
It's for Christians anyway. It's more than this. Wake up in the morning, rush to work, go to church, say hallelujah. There's that destiny. I'm telling you, and that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why I woke up this morning. I was excited. Someone said to me, "Only keep the fire burning."
That's right.
I said, "Keep the fire burning." Even when I'm in heaven, the 24 elders I haven't made it out, they can say, "Only, do you mind slowing down a bit because your fire's
chill,
yeah." You know what I mean? So for you listeners out there, you're hearing a young lady, because you're not old, a young lady who came from Nigeria, who came to the UK, who easily emerged into the society, but still had something unfulfilled in her life. That she knew that, one, she's bigger than where she is.
Absolutely.
Two, it's not about her, really, it's about her generation. Three, is about leaving a legacy. You're listening to my teaching well, that's what I like anyway, you know what I mean? So she knew there was something unfulfilled inside of her. And from then, Ella Bethel got birthed.
That's right.
Wow. So tell us about Ella Bethel.
Ella Bethel. people ask me what Ella Bethel is actually, why Ella Bethel, why the name Ella Bethel, and I simply do believe that I do not just do anything randomly.
Yes.
Nothing is done just because I felt this was the right name. Everything is birthed out of prayer, because ultimately, if we're living a life of purpose, then there is a master puppeteer, a master creator, and that's God, and that is the author and finisher of everything. And I literally prayed. If someone might think, why did you have to pray for a name? It's just a name, but you're birthing a vision. So much is going to come out of that. Now, I had a friend where I used to live in Harrogate, North Yorkshire, and
I was when I first met Elizabeth, I said, because I'm very good with accent, I think
I've lost all that now. I've lost my Yorkshire accent.
But up, lad, I'm from. I was thinking that's not Lagos, you know.
I've lost my. When I first came to London, a lot of people would look at me and go, that's not a London accent. That's because I never really. After I left London, my university was in Bradford, in Yorkshire, and then I worked there as well for quite a few years.
For our global listeners, Yorkshire is a small town somewhere up north.
Very beautiful, I might add.
Okay. I've never been there, but you know, there's about 6 black people. There's about 12 sheep. And there's about 15 dogs. It's so small. I'm joking. Okay.
So Yorkshire listeners, I do. You know, Harrogate, you know, it's beautiful.
Hold tight all the listeners in Yorkshire, because we're global. I know we got some Yorkshire. So I love you guys in Yorkshire. I might be coming up there soon to do some speaking. So
That's right.
Alright, so sorry.
She used to call me Ella, which is the Spanish version of Elizabeth.
Wow.
And she never called me Elizabeth. She said, I prefer Ella, and I actually loved Ella. So as I was praying and sort of, you know, obviously scribbling down names and everything, I wrote Ella down, and then I was sort of playing around Ella and everything. And then I opened my Bible, and where Abraham was talking to God, and where in the scripture, I think it's Genesis 18, about Bethel, El Bethel, where Abraham felt like this is where purpose was revealed to Abraham. Yes. And that just resonated with me so seriously. And basically, when people ask me, I said Ella Bethel. I say I am Ella Bethel, because Ella Bethel simply means Ella fulfilling purpose. Or it can be, the meanings are very wide, but literally it's Ella fulfilling purpose, or Ella in the purpose of God, Ella in the house of God. And I love when people call me Ella Bethel, because it's like they're reaffirming what I actually received. And you know, that's exciting to me, because years to come, and I know that would happen when people go Ella Bethel, they would still be reaffirming what God saw. Ella, me, fulfilling purpose, fulfilling destiny. And that, I imagine, I have not even scratched the surface.
At all. It's interesting you mention that, because, you know, many of your listeners, we've got 12,000 plus, 15,000 listeners, and if you're listening and you want to open up a business, it's so important, as Elizabeth said, pray about it if you're a Christian, but also have a good name. Don't call your business Send the Fire Down Limited 2000. No. I'm telling you, it's so important, because as a business person, you're not just, you know, it's a Christian radio station, and you know, you're not just doing it for Christians.
That's right.
So for example, Ella Bethel is it can be in the corporate world, it could be in schools, it could be across the whole board. Just don't think local, think global. Just don't think the four corners of your church. ONYI Media House, B1 Coaching. I told someone the name of B1 Coaching, had that name. This person started crying. One day I'll tell people where B1 Coaching comes, but it's so important. You know, it's interesting, because Ella Bethel, when I used to hear about it and read about it and see it on Facebook, I never really clocked, and I've admitted it now, that I didn't clock on it was Elizabeth. Like, you're the Ella, Elizabeth. Right. But now it actually makes more sense, because you are Ella Bethel.
That's right.
And that's what I'll be teaching about branding the next few weeks. I'll be speaking about that later on in the show. You are your brand.
That's right.
You are your business. So if Ella Bethel was a groundbreaking, Ella Bethel was a groundbreaking pioneering institution, because I talk to people that to become institution rather than individuals, you have to be Ella Bethel. So I can't see you scruffy. If you epitomise the word swagger and fashion, you understand? You can't. You have to live. You have to walk and talk it.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow. So Ella Bethel.
Blazer, I wish you guys could see me. This blazer is one of mine.
Wow. So it looks good. It looks good. It's interesting. I'm not getting no mediocre people on my radio show.
Nah.
You know, it's entrepreneurs of distinction, and their swagger has to be on point. Because if the radio host, his swagger's on point, boy, you know what I mean. No. So tell us more about Ella Bethel.
So basically, I started sort of sketching and sort of looking out for things that were, you know, sort of in trend. But what I noticed in terms of African fashion was that there were quite a few household names that were quite contemporary, but not along the lines of what I wanted. And that's one thing I love about fashion. It's always evolutionary. It's always changing. It's never the same. It's very dynamic. So you always have to sort of keep with it, but at the same time reinvent yourself as well. So when I mean the name I gave it was BETHEL.
Yeah.
It's a preview. It was me actually sort of looking into and see what direction I wanted to take BETHEL
Wow.
to. And you know, people have actually come up to me. It's amazing. I never really tell people, but when they describe my collection to me, it's like they knew. It's amazing that it can speak for you without you actually saying anything.
That's excellent.
And someone said to me, I love your collection. I can wear it to church. I can wear it to mom. I can wear it to cinema. It's so down to earth, but I can dress it up. And I said, well, there you go. That was what that first collection was all about. As I go along, there will be changes, there will be evolution. But that was what I wanted. I felt like, you know, that was what I was going with. I felt like every time I saw people wearing African fashion, it had to be to a party on a Saturday evening. It had to be very grand, nothing casual, nothing you could wear on top of a jeans and a top and just say, you know what, this is a blazer. Nothing like that. And I didn't see that. I mean, I think there's a few more coming up, but then when I started, that was, and when some people came up and said, well, there you go, that was the original vision I had. And then obviously as you go along, there's quite a few things that have been on the back burner, and then obviously coming out with a new collection.
But I like what you said, you know, about you saw opportunities and the fact that you wanted to be I can never pronounce this word. You want to be innovative. Innovative. Sorry, my English is not too good. Sorry, my English is not too good. I like the way you say you want to be innovative. So it's interesting. An entrepreneur is a leader of excellence, trailblazer, and pioneer who constantly brings change for your generation. It's interesting how you've actually brought change to your generation, because I love the fact that you can wear your stuff. I can't because I'm a man, but you can wear your stuff. Females can wear your stuff.
Soon.
Oh, look at that.
I've had interest.
Wow, you see?
That, yeah.
But you can wear it at weddings, you can wear it to church,
Right.
you can wear it go to your parents, you can wear it to the cinema. And I think that epitomises the word fashion, because fashion, you can go to Primark, you can go to Zara, and you can wear it anywhere. But I think many people from our community, they kind of just do it where it has to be African based, and so I don't know what that means, but you understand. I love the fact that, I mean, I saw one of your stuff that you put on Facebook about 2 days ago, and I said, Mike, if I was a woman, I'm buying that stuff, because it was so classy, and at the same time it was fashionable. It was so fashionable, but at the same time it was executive. It was so executive, but at the same time it was casual. So I definitely salute you there. I definitely salute you there.
Thank you. So I mean, that was the idea that came out of it. I remember talking to someone, and she went, well, what are you going to do about it? And I said, well, actually, another thing that I was really passionate about was I wanted it to be made in Africa.
Okay.
I really wanted to support our local businesses. Sure, I'm not there, but there's no reason, there's nothing stopping me from going there, finding a really good seamstress, because I designed it, but I hadn't started sewing then.
Okay.
I do now. I had to take a few courses because I don't want to always go there. I want to design something.
Okay, so can I ask you a question?
Yes.
It's interesting.
Yes.
The clothes that BETHEL sells,
Yes.
do you produce them yourself?
I do not act physically.
Yeah.
No. Tailor it? No. I designed everything.
Wow.
And then I sourced tailors. And obviously it had to be of the highest standard, and what I did was I had to choose from a few, obviously.
Wow.
And then obviously even the best, this is what happens when you expect the best. People have to rise up to your level of excellence.
That's right.
If it's not there, I'm sorry, it does not cut it, because you know the level that you're expecting, the standard you're setting for yourself. And I remember she was shocked because I had to, I went to Nigeria, and obviously sat her down and everything. I came back, and then she sent some stuff to me, and I sent it back. Wow. She was surprised because it's not something that's done.
Of course.
And I said, I'm sorry, I cannot accept that. That is subpar at best. And you know, and then obviously they sat up and noticed, oh, someone else would have accepted that, but no, she didn't. And I said, no, I'm not going to accept that. That is not what we agreed on. That is not the level or the standard that I want. Please redo it. And then obviously when she did it again, amazing. And I've actually had comments on the finishing, the details.
Wow.
I don't know if you know about African fashion, London Fashion Week that just finished. There's the actually the founder, but then there's the PR side of it.
Okay.
I actually spoke with them, and I sent a few samples, and one of the things they said was the finishing is exquisite.
Look at that.
Because you cannot bring something and someone looks at it and go, what is this? No, because you're trying to create a brand, and a brand, it's every minute detail.
Wow.
Nothing can be overlooked.
Wow.
There's nothing that can be. Oh, we can sort of leave that. You know,
listen, entrepreneurs, are you listening? Yeah. You see, it's that minute detail. Remember, an entrepreneur is a leader of excellence, not a leader of mediocrity, not a follower of excellence, really, not a follower of mediocrity, but a leader of excellence. And she made up her mind. She got stuff from Nigeria, and it wasn't substandard, it was substandard. She went, I'm not happy with that. Some people might say, you know what, boy, I'm in a rush, I need to get it out there, blah, 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 and they would have sold themselves short. And then British Fashion Week was very big, it's a global institution, a global movement. the PR person mentioned that, and believe it or not, they made a note of you.
So yeah, that was really exciting. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to participate with I think last weekend was the hub of it,
Okay.
African Fashion London. But you know, it's something that I would definitely, you know, because obviously you're trying to bring your market to a global audience.
Of course.
And you have people coming from all countries in Africa coming just for that in London, and you have buys, and you know, you never know who would see your stuff and go, wow, you